Welcome to a deep dive by the Quiet Footnote. Today we're plunging into a truly fascinating collection of insights that really peels back the curtain on how creative genius actually gets work done. We're talking about Mason Currey's daily rituals, how artists work, a book that promises to uncover the surprising, often quite mundane secrets behind the creative breakthroughs of over 160 writers, painters, composers, you name it.
Yeah, a huge range.
Our mission today is to unearth the, let's say, counterintuitive truths from this unique book, maybe debunk some pervasive myths about creativity, and discover why its lessons are more urgent now than ever for you, our listener, in your own creative pursuits.
Indeed. And it's important to say this isn't really a book of prescriptions, telling you exactly what to do.
Right, not a step-by-step guide.
No, not at all. It's more like a cabinet of curiosities, offering just this dizzying array of diverse approaches to the creative process. What's truly fascinating here is how it tackles that question that, well, it haunts every aspiring creative person. How do the greats actually get their work done? Not in some grand abstract sense, but, in the messy, real, everyday rhythm of their lives.
It's interesting, too, how Curry's own struggle with creative procrastination sort of led him to this project. He was juggling a full-time job, trying to carve out time for his own writing.
Right, feeling that resistance.
Exactly. And he found himself constantly up against, well, the wall of his own resistance. What was the specific void, you think, he was trying to fill when he started collecting these stories?
Well, he realized that most biographies, while they might be rich in detail about an artist's life or their finished masterpieces, they either mythologize them as these untouchable geniuses, almost struck by divine lightning.
Yeah, the muse just descends idea.
Right. Or they simply ignored the daily, gritty grind of their process. Curry wasn't interested in the grand narrative. He wanted the nitty-gritty, the unglamorous truth behind the output. He wanted to demystify creativity, showing it's cultivated through routine, ritual, and sometimes, truly bizarre habits. His goal was to prove there's no single one right way by offering this kind of buffet of examples.
So you could pick and choose.
Exactly. So you could steal like an artist or remix to what fits your unique life. It's really about creating the conditions for your muse to find you, even when life is, inconvenient or far from ideal.
So he wasn't really looking for profound philosophies, but more the mundane, the wake-up times, the coffee habit.
How many beans in the coffee?
Right. The walks, the meals, the odd little superstitions, that kind of thing. And if there's one core thesis hiding in all these granular details, it's basically this. Inspiration is overrated. Ritual is the real muse.
Absolutely.
It's a powerful echo of that idea that showing up is 80% of life. Here, showing up is like the very door to art.
It's absolutely true. The book really highlights that creativity doesn't just happen in lightning bolts. It's coaxed, wrestled, maybe seduced or disciplined into existence day after day. The structure you build around yourself acts as like scaffolding for the work itself. It's a profound shift in perspective, moving from waiting for a spark to, well, actively lighting the match.
And this is where Curry's book truly shines, I think, because it quietly, well, it demolishes so many common myths we hold about how creative work actually happens.
It really does.
It reveals some counterintuitive truths that might just change how you, the listener, approach your own creative life.
I agree. The more you read these routines one after another, the more certain creativity cliches just crumble under the weight of evidence. Let's maybe start with one that seems really deeply ingrained in our culture.
Okay.
Myth 1.
Yeah.
Real artists work all day, every day. It's a nonstop grind.
Oh, yeah, that one. It always surprises people because we're conditioned to think more is better when it comes to effort, right? So what did Curry find?
He found pretty much the opposite. The greats often worked in incredibly short, intense bursts, often just maybe 2 to 4 focused hours a day.
Really? Only 2 to 4 hours?
Yeah. Think about Gertrude Stein, who famously wrote for only about 30 minutes daily. That's it.
Wow.
Or Igor Stravinsky, who composed religiously from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then he was done for the day.
Finished.
Done. Charles Darwin structured his days around 3 short, maybe 90-minute sessions, each separated by long walks. It wasn't just about output. It was about protecting his, peak mental energy.
So the truth here isn't about brute force, is it? It's about focused intention. Depth of focus beats duration of effort. That completely flips hustle culture on its head.
Exactly. And that leads us directly to the next big myth, I think.
Which is?
Myth 2. You have to wait for inspiration to strike, then you pounce.
Ah, the classic image. The the artist staring blankly at a page, waiting for that bolt from the blue. But Curry's artists didn't really wait, did they?
No, not at all. These artists scheduled their inspiration. They didn't passively wait for it. Ernest Hemingway had that famous trick, right? He would stop writing mid-sentence.
Yeah, to make it easier the next day.
Exactly, often on a cliffhanger, to make the next day start easier. He basically engineered his inspiration for the following morning. Maya Angelou took an even more, well, extreme approach, keeping a Spartan hotel room stripped of all comforts purely as her workspace.
Just for work.
Yeah, the starkness of the room itself signaled work mode. The truth is, ritual is the switch. The muse truly follows the current you create. It's a profound act of self-discipline.
Which naturally leads us to a third pervasive myth.
Okay.
Myth 3, creativity requires complete freedom and ideal conditions.
Oh, this is a big one. So many aspiring artists believe this, that they need a perfect studio, endless time, no distractions. But Curry's research revealed that many creatives thrive because of constraints, not in spite of them.
Right, like who?
Well, Toni Morrison, for example, wrote before sunrise while raising kids and working full-time. She famously said she could never write in the afternoons. Her children were a constraint that forced a specific early morning ritual. Frédéric Chopin, tormented by insomnia, turned his sleepless nights into midnight composing sessions, often producing some of his most, melancholic and beautiful pieces in the stillness of those constrained hours.
So constraints aren't just limitations. They can be the very frame that makes the art possible. They force focus and efficiency. Yeah. That's powerful. And what about that guilt around relaxing?
Yes, the guilt trip that says myth 4. Rest is procrastination or a sign of weakness.
We're so conditioned to believe that if we're not actively doing something, we're being unproductive. What did the greats teach us here?
They show us that walks, naps, leisure, simply doing nothing.
Yeah.
These are intentional tools for incubation and regeneration. Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, for instance, took 2-hour daily walks, no matter the weather, precisely to, digest musical ideas that had been brewing.
Let them simmer.
Exactly. Benjamin Franklin, a prolific inventor and writer, famously scheduled diversion into his daily plan, believing moral and mental health depended on variety and rest. The truth is, rest fuels breakthroughs. It's part of the work, not outside it. It's where ideas kind of compost beneath the surface, allowing new connections to form.
It reframes rest as an essential component of creativity, not just an indulgence. That's a huge shift for many of us, I think.
Definitely. Then there's myth 5. Professionalism means normalizing your habits and fitting in.
Right. We often imagine serious artists conforming to certain norms, but Curry's book shows this rich tapestry of, glorious oddities.
Absolutely. Many of these creative geniuses leaned unapologetically into their quirks, no matter how unusual they seemed. Marcel Proust, for example, wrote in a cork-lined bedroom, rarely seeing daylight.
Creating his own little world.
Totally. A hermetically sealed world to facilitate his writing. Ludwig van Beethoven, legendary for his intensity, counted exactly 60 coffee beans per cup for his breakfast brew.
60. Exactly 60.
A precise ritual for his morning kickstart. And then there's Nikola Tesla, who did toe exercises 100 times before bed for brain stimulation. A fascinating, almost bizarre, personal method. The truth is, if it works for you, if it unlocks your creative flow, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. Sometimes weird is just, personal engineering for peak output.
It's almost a reminder that genius often comes with its own unique operating system, doesn't it? And finally, the idea that...
Okay, last one.
Myth 6. Great work is born from perfect conditions or a specific ideal environment.
Yeah, this is a myth that can paralyze so many people before they even start. They wait for the perfect studio, the perfect amount of quiet, the perfect mood.
The stars to align.
Exactly. But Curry's research shows this wild diversity. Some worked in total chaos, some in monastic stillness, some in noisy cafes, some in isolation. There was no single right setting. Francis Bacon, the painter, worked in a studio so cluttered with paint, brushes, discarded canvases, it was almost archaeological. James Joyce wrote his groundbreaking novels lying on his stomach in bed, wearing a white coat to reflect light onto the page.
In bed.
Yeah. The truth here is that perfect is whatever environment keeps you coming back and allows your mind to enter its comfort zone for creation. It's about adaptability and, really, self-knowledge.
These historical truths aren't just fascinating relics, though. They're arguably more vital than ever in our hyper-connected world. What makes them so urgent for listeners today, do you think?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Curry's whole project feels like a quiet, powerful warning. If you don't design your days intentionally, someone else will design them for you.
Hmm.
Historically, an artist's distractions were largely physical, unexpected visitors, an urgent letter, maybe a loud neighbor. Now, now it's an infinite scroll in your pocket,
Yeah.
constant notifications, work email bleeding into evenings, social media demands.
It's everywhere.
It is. The artist's protection of sacred hours, those inviolable blocks of creative time, these are basically survival skills in an era where attention is the rarest and most fiercely competed for commodity.
That's so true. We're constantly bombarded. And this book really cuts through that myth of the 24/7 hustle that social media glamorizes, right? The idea that you have to be on all the time to be successful.
Exactly. This book is like a counterspell to that, showing that the most impactful creatives often worked less in terms of sheer hours, but with extreme, almost fanatical focus.
Yeah.
And in our current reality, where remote work blurs boundaries more than ever before, these artists offer a clear blueprint. They build boundaries purposefully, through dedicated time blocks, separate workspaces, even if they were makeshift, and clear start-stop rituals for their work.
Yeah.
This is a vital strategy for avoiding creative burnout in our modern setup. It's about building these sort of mental rooms for creation, even if you don't have physical separation.
It's fascinating how these historical patterns translate to entirely new challenges too, especially with emerging tech like AI. This book feels like it provides maybe a new lens to view those collaborations.
It really does, and it raises this important question. If Curry were to update his book today, he'd certainly have to include how creatives structure rituals around human-AI collaboration.
Right. How do you fit that in?
Exactly. Think about when to invite AI in for brainstorming, maybe, but when to keep it out to protect your unique voice. And crucially, how to avoid losing that personal touch or becoming creatively dependent on it.
Good point.
What does it even mean for the definition of your work when AI can instantly generate variations or even entire drafts? This makes understanding your personal process, your core voice, even more critical. It's kind of like writers in earlier eras relying on typists or editors maybe, but with totally new complexities around authorship, ideation, the very act of making.
So the need for ritual becomes even stronger.
I think so. The need for conscious, self-aware ritual is only growing, not diminishing.
The unspoken challenge Curry leaves for today's reader is pretty profound then. Can you claim even 2 or 3 hours a day that are fully yours? Unfragmented, unnegotiated, in a world that's basically built to steal them. It's not about finding a perfect system, maybe, but building one that works for the season you're in right now.
Absolutely. And for me, the most impactful parts of daily rituals aren't just the voyeuristic details, like Beethoven counting 60 coffee beans or Benjamin Franklin taking air baths. Those are deliciously odd.
They are fun.
They are. But what truly lingers are the meta patterns that kind of sneak up on you when you read enough of these lives back to back.
Like what?
Well, one is the 2 4 hour sweet spot. What truly floored me was how few of history's giants spent more than, say, 3 or 4 concentrated hours on their actual core creative work.
Still find that amazing.
It just shatters the hustle culture fantasy that you must create for 10 or 12 hours a day. They protected their peak energy, not just their time. They understood when their best work happened, and then disciplined themselves to stop.
And it really drives home that ritual is emotional armor, doesn't it? It's less about the quirk itself, maybe, and more about the psychological switch it flips.
Yeah.
Reading about Kafka hiding away at night to write, or Maya Angelou renting that plain hotel room to escape her own comforts, you see that ritual isn't just about efficiency, it's about shielding your mind from intrusion, creating a sacred space, even if that space is just a mental one, within the chaos of daily life.
Absolutely. And creativity survives on constraint. Some of the most moving examples in the book were people working despite seemingly insurmountable obstacles. The day job that paid the bills, chronic illness, raising children, even war.
Right.
Toni Morrison writing before sunrise so her children never saw her work as an absence, but rather something that happened before they awoke.
Yeah.
This fundamentally changes your perspective. You stop waiting for the perfect season. You learn to build your art inside the season you're in.
Which profoundly connects to the sacredness of recovery. The book quietly but consistently insists that doing nothing is not only okay, but it's an integral part of the ritual. Tchaikovsky's 2-hour walks, Darwin's structured reading breaks, Gertrude Stein's countryside drives, these weren't just downtime to be filled, they were essential for processing, right?
Exactly. It reframes rest as active incubation, not mere indulgence. It's the soil where ideas germinate unseen, leading to genuine breakthroughs.
And finally,
And finally, The comfort in eccentricity. What looks ridiculous or inefficient from the outside might be perfectly logical, even essential, inside the mind that depends on it.
Like Proust in his room.
Like Proust writing in a cork-lined room, barely seeing daylight, or Tesla's toe exercises before bed. You realize these aren't just strange habits. They're often highly personalized tools these artists forged to summon and sustain their unique genius. They claim sovereignty over their daily lives, building routines that supported their specific creative output, regardless of external judgment.
This raises an important question then. What's the deeper, maybe unheard message beneath all these fascinating stories beyond just the surface level quirks?
Well, Curry never says it outright, but I feel like every single entry carries this really powerful subtext. Your art will not save itself. You must build a life that saves it daily.
Wow. Okay.
Life is messy, it's distracting, it's often even hostile to deep creative work. The world will constantly demand your time, your attention, your emotional bandwidth. Your ritual isn't just a cute quirk, it's a defense system. It's a quiet rebellion against the chaos, a fortress wall against everything that tries to erode your creative time. It's about how artists keep working in a world that, frankly, doesn't care if they stop. It's an act of deep self-respect for your creative calling, really.
Okay, so if we distill these hundreds of quirky, fascinating vignettes into their core nutrients, what are the top 5 key principles Mason Currey hopes readers will internalize? And maybe more importantly, how can you, our listener, apply them to your own music, writing, or any creative endeavor?
All right, let's try to boil it down. First, there's no one right way, only your way. Curry shows us wildly different schedules, bizarre habits, yet all these creatives share this ferocious devotion to their craft. The core principle here is borrow, remix, discard, until you find a rhythm that genuinely sticks for you. Don't be afraid to experiment, and don't feel you have to perfectly mimic some successful artist's routine.
Okay, that's number 1. What's next?
Number 2, short, focused work beats endless grind. From Stravinsky to Stephen King, many masters worked just 2 to 4 concentrated hours on their core craft, then stopped.
Depth over duration.
Exactly. Depth, not duration, is the metric that truly matters. So for your own creative pursuits, consider structuring your time in intense bursts, whether you're composing music, drafting lyrics, whatever. Protect those prime hours fiercely.
Good advice. Number 3.
Third, ritual is the muse's doorbell. Specific start cues, dedicated spaces, consistent habits. They signal to your brain, okay, it's time to create now.
Like flipping a switch.
Exactly. Maya Angelou's bare hotel room, Beethoven's exact coffee beans, these were signals. So what's your switch for entering your creative flow? It could be a specific playlist, a certain type of tea, maybe just closing all other tabs on your computer before you begin. Define it, then use it consistently.
Makes sense. What's 4?
4, constraints can be catalysts. Limited time, money, even health often forced efficiency and focus among these artists.
Oh.
Toni Morrison writing Before Sunrise is such a powerful example of turning a limitation into a launch pad.
Don't wait for perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't wait for perfect conditions. Adapt. Let those limitations sharpen your focus and maybe force you to be more efficient with the time you actually do have.
And the last one. Number 5.
Finally, number 5. Rest is part of the work. Walks, naps, leisure, mental white space. They aren't indulgences. They're essential creative incubation time.
The composting.
Yeah, the composting time. Tchaikovsky's daily walks were as crucial to his music as sitting at the piano. So build recovery into your schedule, knowing it fuels breakthroughs and allows ideas to germinate beneath the surface. It's an active contribution to your output, not a withdrawal from it.
So the book, in one sharp sentence, maybe. A collage of the world's greatest minds proving that creativity isn't magic. It's the daily choice to protect, repeat, and trust the rhythms that keep your art alive.
That sums it up pretty well.
For you, the listener, we recommend trying to distill these principles into a kind of ritual blueprint for your own music and writing. Adapt these historical examples into a structure you can actually test in your own daily rhythm. It's about summoning yourself into the work, right? Even when you're sleepy or distracted or doubting yourself.
Showing up for it.
So consider this your challenge. Are you designing your days intentionally enough to protect the work that matters most to you? Because as this deep dive shows, creative output is built on that quiet, daily act of telling the rest of the world, not now, this hour belongs to my work.
Indeed. What invisible structure are you willing to build around your own music, your writing, your ideas, so they actually have a fighting chance to grow and flourish? It's a powerful question to end on, I think.